Hi everyone, back with another video. This one's kind of long. Sorry. It almost could have been three videos, really. Um, you know, I was starting off climbing the mountain. It was, near where I was camping, and I was expecting to come across some mining activity, and I did. And so, those almost could have been two different videos. One for the climb and one for the mining. But anyway, I should have started off. I'm still learning and figuring this all out. I should have started off my climb with a sort of a little prologue of what I was doing, which which I didn't. So I had taken the next day after this little hike. I had taken a campsite video just to showing where I was camping because I liked the spot and was trying to do some of those. So I had done that. So I ended up I put that on the beginning of the hiking video because that shows the mountain. So if you're not interested in that, when this little spiel I'm giving here ends, there's about 8 minutes of the campsite video, which includes filming the sunrise and whatever, and then there's the hike itself, which I think goes on for about 8 minutes, and then after that is the mining part. I would have done I could have certainly done a lot more filming of the mining than I did, but what happened, by the time I got to the where they were mining, I climbed the mountain and I was already on my way down and I was getting a little tired. I'm still adjusting to the altitude. And so I knew I still had, at least a couple of miles, back to camp. And of course, it's, there's no actual trails. It's, what they call bushwhacking. Just you're going through just through the forest, the trees or whatever that's there, and it's the steep parts, and so um, anyway, I was ready to get back, and I thought I saw all the mining activity, and I could have continued even out further, but I didn't want to because I was ready to head back. So I said, Jesus, I could really come back here another day, and and take some videos and do some more exploring of the old mining activity that's up there. I think I'd come around from the other side instead of going up the mountain first. I would come around, um, and get it from the other direction. But anyway, this is filmed. My last two videos were on the eastern side of the little mountain range just before going through the Bristol Pass, and then this is filmed over on the other side after you go through the Bristol Pass, and then you turn off on a dirt road that heads to this. There was a mine there that obviously was a working mine. There's a lot of buildings you'll see. There's a road that goes in there, and then there's roads that go off of that, and that's where I am on one of those side roads off of the main dirt road into the area where the mine is. So you can see the mine from quite a distance because big tailing piles. If you try to approach it, there's the road is blocked off and there's all huge no trespassing signs and everything. But they've obviously been there for quite a long time. They're pretty weathered. So the mine is not operated for a while, and I concluded after looking at what I saw that there's been activity there for quite a long time. Some of it, I mean, I didn't look up the history of the mine. I'm sure you could. It's listed on the map as Bristol Mine, so I'm sure somebody can find out something about it. But um, there's old wooden infrastructure there that could go back to the 1800s. I'm thinking, and then the below that is an area with buildings that could be from the 1940s, 1950s, 60s, 70s. They're newer metal buildings. So I think there's, like I said, there's been mining there for a while, and the the older part, or at least whatever's left of it, is above the newer part. So it's possible, and I think likely that they were processing the older stuff at um, at the site that they process the newer stuff, and but they've just overlaid the infrastructure or whatever. But there's a cable car system that comes over the mountain, so they were at one time mining on the other side, and I didn't get over to that. That's what I'd like to go back and get over to. Um, and then it looks like they stopped that because the cable car system is pretty dilapidated, and obviously hasn't been used in quite a long time. So I'm guessing that they stopped the mining that was sort of over the other side, over the ridge that I didn't get to, and they just limited themselves to being in the newer area, which is lower down. So anyway, so that's what's here. So I went, um, I climbed up to the top of the mountain, and then on my way down, I viewed the mining activity and went back. And in the beginning is the campsite video, and which also shows where the mountain is and discusses the area. So um, I hope you enjoy watching it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and have fun. Good morning, everyone. Uh, it's Dave again, out here in Nevada, just north of Pioche. I'm just going to show you a quick little video of my campsite I have here. Yesterday, I climbed up the top of this mountain up here, and took a bunch of videos. I got to string together and make into a blog entry. Uh, Elevation here is about 6,400 feet. I think it was 8,200 feet up to the top of that mountain. It's probably, I think it was a couple miles for me climbing. So, maybe that's like a mile and a half. Um, I wanted to do this now because you can see the sun hasn't risen here yet. You can see it's just coming up over over the mountain, and I'm just going to grab the camera and pan around and let you see what it looks like here. I'm just just boondocking. I'm out just at the end of a little dirt road, comes in over there that hardly anybody ever comes down, sort of a dead end, little turnaround here. And so let me grab the camera and do that for you. Okay, so again, there's the mountain you can see. Really scenic little, I like this spot because I've got a great view out beyond, but right now you can see the sun has risen over there. It's come over the hill, but it hasn't made it over here just yet. But you can see, there's an old fire ring, hasn't been used in a while. I get the van up here up on leveling blocks because it's it's uneven surface. I get it positioned just perfectly so that the big issue I have is if the sun is really shining on the back of the refrigerator has struggles to keep everything cool, and it warms up, which is not good. So I get it positioned so that the sun, the whole path during the day, that side of the van, the driver's side, is in the shade. And the only thing here, it tends to be really windy and gusty here, and so I can't put the canopy out just maybe a little bit because the wind, it just can be unbelievable. Just these super gusts just roar up out of nowhere. But I'm gonna head out in a little bit. I'm gonna head north. I'm gonna go up to Ely, to get some supplies, and I don't know where I'm going to camp tonight, but I'll just pan up here. You can see there's the. I always notice down in at home, people are always down at the beach filming the sunrise. So I get my own little film of the sunrise coming up there, just over the mountain. But you can see that there's a typical little vegetation in this area. These small little trees never grow very tall. There's no real like grass, ground cover. It's just dirt and little clumps of sagebrush and cactus, a few other little oddball plants that I don't know what they are. And also, just to the looking at the sunrise, just down to the left a little bit, right there where my finger is. That's where that mine is. That was actually a working mine for I don't know how long, but those are the tailings. Is that scar in the landscape there? That brown area. This whole area right around me, people have been digging, looking for, I guess, gold and silver. There's a whole bunch. You walk around through the woods or follow the roads, and you'll find, holes dug all over the place with the the states going around and put barbed wire around them and everything. And I've filmed some of those spots. Also, there's from here to getting out, it goes through an area where they obviously dumped their trash for years, and quite a while ago. It was probably done back in the 1950s and 60s, I would say. And the only thing left is, for the most part, is the metal and some of the wood. Everything else is, decayed or whatever, not there anymore. So there's mostly just tons of tin cans, a few other metal items that, pieces of, I don't know, old beds and box springs for mattresses and some car parts and whatever. But a ton of stuff like that. So I'm going to try mounting the camera up inside the van so I can take a little video as I drive. You can see some of the dirt road. It's a pretty rough dirt road coming in here, but I managed to make it okay. And I've been in this spot for 2 days. I camped nearby, just a short distance away, another little place for just overnight. I moved down here because it was more scenic, a little more pleasant spot. And I camped the night before that. I camped just over the other side of this mountain and did a couple of hikes there. I did a couple of videos on those. So that's where we are. So there you got your sunrise, and you can see we're in the sun here now. It's going to be warming up soon. It's supposed to be getting up into the mid 80s, I think, the next day or two. So that's going to be kind of uncomfortably warm here, especially if I can't have any shade without getting in the van and opening all the doors and windows, which is okay as long as the wind blows. But if there's not much breeze, which like yesterday afternoon, there was very little breeze, and it got pretty warm, but I was afraid to get out and put my canopy out because I never knew if there was going to be a gust coming up. So anyway, there you have it, and I'll get back to you soon. So this is the mine that you can see from below. You can see the tailings stand out on the hillside. And you can see, looking at it here, that sort of on the right, that's the road going in that they've actually sort of made with the tailings. And then the piles of them continue over. And then there's the the various buildings. There's a sort of a taller wooden structure over towards the right that there's actually, so they've got a cable line running up over the hillside. I haven't been up over the other side. I'd like to get up there, but I assume they are bringing ore over from the other side, because they must have, I assume they started here and then started digging over there afterwards. But anyway, it's you know, the main road into the mine is blocked off and all kinds of no trespassing signs, so they don't want you going in that way. But you know, I'm hiking around and heading up the top of that mountain, so you can see out the view. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 7:30 in the morning here. So this, you know, the sun has just come up, and as funny as I was hiking up from below, initially I had the sun in my eyes some, but then since it's coming up, you know, over the mountain like that, as I got closer and closer to the mountain, it kept disappearing, and then it would rise again if I slowed down, or if I wasn't climbing as much or whatever. So it was kind of interesting. It kept getting in my eyes as I was climbing. So I don't know how much higher I'll go. Last year I went up to the very top, and that was quite a climb, but it was rewarding. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I had just ended up, I was just sort of wandering up the hill, and I just kept going, and before I knew it, I was at the top. So I may hit up there again or not, but I'm gonna continue climbing, because I remember it was interesting to me looking down at the mine, and getting higher. The, you know, the view is better, and I'm getting some good exercise. So I'm gonna keep on climbing, and we'll see how we finish up. So this is just a little higher than where I was in that last video, but you can see makes a lot of difference in what you can see of the mine. This place obviously has been closed for a while. I don't know how long. You know, looking at the buildings and whatever, it seems to me like the newest stuff that I see is probably, you know, could be from the 60s, 70s. I'm sure I could find out, but I haven't. But from this angle anyway, you can see down below, there's more buildings down there. I'm not sure if some of those are, you know, where they lived or what, but you know, there's the mine road coming in, and the buildings look mostly, you know, they're pretty abandoned, pretty rough little, they're really sheds is what they are. And anyway, I'm gonna continue climbing up, and maybe get back to you, and we'll see how high I make it up there. And here's yet another view of the mine. You can see I'm further up above. I just stopped and had a bite to eat, and enjoying the, you can see it's just, the view is magnificent. I know the pictures don't really capture it, but it's really spectacular scenery out here. And I don't know how far it is over to the other side there, or you know, as far as you can see. I know they say that the distances are further than they look when you're out in the desert, and I guess the air or whatever makes it hard to judge. But you can be pretty sure that there's no one anywhere in this picture, and not for quite a long way. So it's pretty pretty cool. Almost to the summit. That's it right there. The highest point is just up over that little rise there, that rises it. And then there's a peak right to the right of it, you know, as we were looking up from below. That's very rocky. That's that place there. That last year when I got up here, that's where I hiked up to the top of that one. And then I got up there and I saw the other one was slightly higher. So, but I didn't actually go over to the highest because it wasn't that much higher. I went down on the ridge of this little mountain over here for quite a ways, which was, I remember, a really nice hike down, you know, slowly going down. And I went over to that next mountain there and sort of went down the side, went down, back down that way, and that's the area where I'm camping down there. So the valley floor out there is about 6,000 feet. I'll have to look and see what we are at now. It's probably somewhere 8,000 or so is where the little peak is. So I'm actually thinking of I'm going to go down the other way, the other direction. I'm going to head up there now and then descend over on that direction, sort of above the mine and I think we're above the level where that little tramway went over. So I'm interested to see if I can find the sort of the end of that, or you know, maybe even across it. We'll see. So here we are at the summit, or nearly at the summit. I wanted to stop here because there's an old wooden structure below, which is much higher in elevation than I would have expected, which is you know, up above the mine. You can see the road coming into the mine there, and the same view of the big valley from behind. I'm going to be going, I don't know, the actual highest point is maybe like right over there. I'm going to head over there in a minute. I'm going to plan on hoping to go down that way there, sort of following that ridge line down over that way. So we're looking to the north, and we're up to where you can see over the other side. That's Nevada, Route 93, running north to south. And you can see down at the distance, sort of just below the highest mountains there, I believe that's Pioche, which I wasn't able to see before when I came up here. Last year, I stopped over there at that little peak close by, and I didn't come up here. I guess I was feeling better, more energetic today, so I thought I'd come over here. Did some rock climbing, coming up these rocks here, and got over to this point, and I'll show you. GPS shows 8,219 feet, 2.3 miles. I've walked for a total of looks like about 3 hours, so not bad. It's 9:44 a.m. here, so the sun is shining. I had to take off my long sleeve shirt. I had to put on a long sleeve shirt, and I wore it for quite a while actually, because it was a cool morning. But the sun's out, it's warming up now, but it's all downhill from here. So hopefully there'll be some more interesting sights. I'll check in with you in a minute. So this is actually the top then. You can see back over here where I was my last little film, and that's the peak where I came up before. Looking down again, Pioche, Route 93 around to the east, and road heading up to the north, back down again. And the reason I'm saying we're at the peak is there's a marker here. I assume from government marker. I don't know if that's the Artisan. I don't know if that's the name of this mountain. I should have checked. I know some of them do have names. And then there's an old wooden stick here that somebody put to show. So anyway, we know we're at the summit, and so I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to see if I can get down over there. I don't know how it's possible. There's a real steep drop off there and I won't be able to make it, but from the ground it kind of looked like I should be able to get down that way. So take a little break here, eat a few peanuts, drink some of the water, and head back down. So I was thinking as I was sitting here eating my peanuts that you know, I always like to look around the summit before I head down, spend a little time there, and I thought, gee, you know, I should do a little video of, you know, what's up here, because little summits are always interesting. You know, there's I was sitting there and I noticed that there's a pretty good sized anthill right over here, right there. It's covered with pine needles, but you can probably see there's a ton of little ants running around, and that's, you know, why they're way the heck up here, I don't know. But you know, there's all different things growing here. You know, a little pine tree. You know, everything's short because the wind keeps them that way, I guess. The soil is poor. You know, there's something that lived but is gone. You know, the rocks here, of course, are all you know, crumbling. They're all like almost like a slate type of thing, different than what I'm used to from New England. You know, more of the pine trees. That was where the that actual summit is, right there. And then, you know, coming down over this way, it's there's more cactuses, little pine trees, big cactus there. It's almost like a little field up here. It's pretty pleasant, actually. It's just kind of cool because it's so different than you know, certainly on the way up, it's very different than that. And this is almost like a grassland over here. That's the way I'm hoping to go down, right through those pine trees there. We'll see how that works out. Here's a this is a massive cactus here, assuming it's all one. Just keeps going. Another one over there. More dead trees, live trees, great big cactus, different kind of little almost brush over there. Another different kind of little evergreen. There's a trunk of, actually was a pretty big tree that grew here at one time. It's interesting. I always enjoy it because I work so hard to get up here, and then it always looks so different once I'm here. The plants and the rocks and the topography and everything is so much different than on the way up or, you know, further down. It's like a whole different world up here. And this one particularly seems to have a lot of different things going on, a lot of different things growing. So enjoy. So I was heading down. It was actually much easier than I expected. It was mostly like a sloping grassland. I stumbled across this way up here, not that far from the summit. This one I can't actually see the bottom from here. I'll hold the camera over a bit and maybe some of it'll show. I don't know. You can see the state has been in here with their signs and barbed wire, which I don't go around. They were digging over there too. This one's interesting. It's still got some piece of wood there that they were probably using to you know, haul stuff up, haul dirt up. Big old dead tree here, but we're pretty steep here. I mean, I'm looking down. It's a pretty steep drop where the tailings are. I don't know how they got the ore down out of here. It's too steep for an animal, and there's no real trail coming up here. So it's interesting that they dug this far up, and it looks like they were pretty serious digging into rock and everything. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to stumble upon when I'm here. And there it is. And here's another unsafe mine. This one, some of the barbed wire's down. Pretty good hole there. I can't really see, it's dark in there, but they've thrown a pretty good sized tree in there to cover it up. I guess they really don't want you in there on that one, but it's amazing how steep it is up here and how far up we are that they've been digging. So we'll keep going. So here's another one. This one is more of a actual hole to it, which is kind of unusual. It makes it look more like they may have actually done some, you know, found something here. I don't know. Or maybe it was more than an exploratory thing, but that's obviously been cordoned off too. So this area here, obviously there was some pretty extensive mining done. This is a tailings pile here. There's some an area up there where they built some stone retaining walls. I don't know why that was or what the purpose was, but down here there was some sort of structure built. See the wooden things, and there was you can see there was a little tracked you know, mining car thing that went down over that way, and I can see another hole over there, and so I assume that follows along, and I'm heading over to that wooden structure, which you can just see there, which has there's still cable running across to the other side. Another old wooden tower there, and a couple of what looks like electric poles. And here's one here. This is actually quite unusual, that there's an actual shaft that's big enough, you know, you could walk right in there, and who knows how far it goes. I'm not going to go in. You can see people they've pushed the barrier aside, and usually when I've seen these, which I haven't seen very many, but anything that looks like you could easily just go in, they've got big bars, you know, big metal tubed bars that they've welded together and made it so that, you know, it wouldn't be easy to get in there. But this is just down from that last little place with the cars, and you can see the old, you know, railroad tie beds, and there's another mine around there. So I'm going to continue on. So I made it to that old wooden structure that I saw from above, and it's in pretty tough shape, but there's still cables running through it. I don't know the age of this, but it's certainly got some age to it. You can see there's still some of the track up there, and then they had looks like they ran smaller cables down here. The bigger ones, this one here is a good, that's more than an inch, I would say. And more of the pulley. I don't know what this station was for. It looks like it had a long wooden deck for some reason. And it's still, again, got a lot of the tracks up there. You can see down below, it's collapsed quite a bit. It looks like there's a, I don't know, maybe they loaded cars from up there. Slanted wooden thing. Pieces of roofing. There's still a couple of cables running to another structure that held up the cables. We're on the side of a pretty steep hill here, and we're still at reasonable elevation. Come along here underneath it. So here's that next cable station. This is pretty intact still. It's interesting. I like the ladders you see going up either side, and then in the middle they can climb up, I guess, if the cables get bound up or whatever. But this looks pretty intact. You can see they were running, it looks like a couple of smaller cables across the bottom, and then the bigger ones across the top. The bigger ones are still there. And then there's a cable, looks like it's holding it up. Another spot where it looks like there was some mining activity for sure. There's some old rail tracks coming out of there, heading down. Everything's kind of collapsed after that, but you can see the more modern mine down there. I'm going to continue around straight across from here and head down that bridge there. And the van is, you can't see it in the picture, but it's sort of right in the middle of the camera there. So a couple of miles to go still. And here looks like we got the remains of one of the old mining cars, which is interesting. I haven't seen anything like that up here. You know, heavy metal. Looks like it had some wood on the side. It's got a little thing in the front for towing it. A bunch of old, looks like stovepipe next to it. Made it over to the other side of that little ravine. That's the mine that I was just at that had the mining car. I came around there. It's kind of pretty steep, but I made it around. I'm getting tired of taking videos, but I figured I'd take one more. This shows the that working mine from the other direction. But the other thing that's interesting to me, you probably can't make it out, but sort of right in the middle of this frame, I can just see the van or or a part of it. It's sort of like behind a little hill, and there's a little right about there. There's a little road you can see, a little white line, and a little bit of an object that's a different color than everything else around there. And I'm sure that's it. So I'm heading just up a little bit here and up and then down, and more or less the way I came, which normally I don't like to do, but I didn't want to, otherwise I would have had to go over that way and go around this mine from the other side, because you're not actually supposed to go into those buildings down there. So I don't think there's anybody there, but I'm respecting the rules, so I'm not going through. Anyway, I'll see you when I get down.